Hey guys, so I've made a few videos on YouTube and they all suck and whatever. I'm gonna ignore that. Anyways, I have something that happened in my life that I really want to talk about, something that I don't think is talked about enough or discussed enough, and when it is happening to you, there's nowhere to look or turn and you're just terrified. So I will get to the backstory of how it all happened. This type of disorder could be drug-induced, which happened to me. But it also is brought on by anxiety or PTSD or something that happened in your past, or you kind of just are overwhelmed and kind of have a midlife crisis. And I think it was a few things for me. But today I'm going to be talking about derealization. It's a disorder in the dissociation category. But basically, I'll get to the whole backstory. It was my brother's 20th birthday. So we went to his friend's house. Was the night that really just destroyed my life. I went with him. They were all smoking, and I've smoked before. I mean, I don't like it, but I wanted to be like it, not necessarily be like everyone else, but I wanted to fit in with the group. Everyone was doing it. They were all having fun. I wanted to have fun. So I did it. And by that point I was already gone, but I kept hitting it and hitting it and hitting it, and no one was stopping me. And I had never felt this experience in my life before. I felt like I was falling. I was seeing stars. I was seeing colors. This had never happened to me. And people were like, oh, it had to have been something in the weed, all this stuff. And I'm like, well, everyone else was fine. So long story short, we get home. I go to bed. I wake up the next day just feeling a little tired or whatever. And I'm sitting on the couch and I'm kind of just staring at everything wow, everything just looks so weird and I feel so weird. So I just figured I was high still. I knew it wasn't possible, but I just pretended in my head. I was like, I'm still high, I'm still high. Kept telling myself that. Maybe it's still in my body, I'll give it a few weeks. Weeks turned into months. So far it's been, I think, 4 or 5 months since this happened to me. It really depends on the person. But I got this feeling about 3 days afterwards. I was just laying in the bath staring at the ceiling and I just felt disconnected from my body. It got worse eventually. I'll talk about that as well. But I was looking at my hands. I didn't feel like they were my hands. My body didn't feel like mine. Nothing felt real. I didn't look at my reflection in the mirror. I didn't take care of myself. I didn't brush my teeth or do my hair. I didn't post to social media or anything. I just became a recluse in my room all the time. I had to go to work, which only escalated it. But the worst part of the dissociation was my own thoughts. I had a disconnect from my own thoughts. I would think something and then be like, oh my gosh, am I actually thinking that? Is this actually my mind? Am I ever going to feel normal again? Everything I would think, I would second guess as if it was my own thoughts until it would get even worse and I would feel dizzy. I went to work one time and was tripping. I was dizzy. My boss gave me an Adderall, which is a stimulant. It's kind of stabled me out because I have ADHD and all that, which this can be a factor of a lot of things. But I found out about it by searching, I feel like I'm in a dream, and that led me to all these searches. And the problem with it is you become obsessed with it. And I'm not going to say I'm cured, but I'm getting way better. But the problem with me is that I kept searching into it because I was terrified. All of those thoughts, all the time, constantly, that was all I was thinking about was derealization, I'm derealized. That's the only thing I talked about with my friends, with my mom. It was the only thing that was on my mind 24/7, 7 days a week. It's a terrifying thing and I'm kind of getting scared talking about it, so I don't want to discuss it too much because I don't want to get to that point again. I want to be myself. It's really scary, and the problem is we obsess on it because we want to find a cure. And we look at it and we're like, oh, we're not going to look at it again. A few weeks later, you get scared, you read something telling you you're going to be okay. You look for a miracle cure. Weeks turn into months in my case, and you're just terrified. And it's just the one thing on your mind. You get suicidal, and it's not even you, but you just think, well, if I'm gone, it doesn't matter. I'm trapped in my own head. If I'm gone, I'll be okay. I don't care about life. And that was a scary thing for me because I'm terrified of death. But at that point, I gave up on everything. I wasn't worried about school, about my car payment, about work, about anything. I wasn't myself. I continued to work. As of right now, I'm doing a lot better. And the one thing I can tell you to help you get better is that you've got to distract yourself immediately. I tried taking meds. I took these 2 meds, they counteracted, they made it even worse. I started my first day of college feeling like I was floating out of my body. Every time I would yawn, I felt like I was gonna vomit. I was sweating, I was hot. I tried taking all kinds of medicine, and sometimes meds can help because a lot of the time it's either a hormone imbalance or an imbalance, chemical imbalance in the brain. So I tried multiple medications. I started taking Wellbutrin daily, which kind of just leveled me out, made me calm. But the problem was I couldn't sleep at night. I just thought all night, and I wasn't getting REM sleep. I was waking up feeling dizzy and weird. Eventually, I started taking Xanax, and what it would do, it made me feel weird, but I would only take it at night. It lasted about 12 hours, so it would knock me right out. I would fall asleep, wake up, feel it a little, but I was getting sleep. I was letting my mind rest. And one of the number one things I can tell you is you need to distract yourself immediately. And I know you've noticed when you do something, you don't even think about it, but as soon as you think about it, it consumes you. And you think, did I actually just do that? Like I didn't feel weird. You start to forget what it feels like to feel normal. And then you realize what is normal. And I ended up posting about this on social media. I was terrified, and I found out 3 other people that I knew or had talked to or had known or had been in my life that had dealt with this thing for years, which I'm not sure if it's a thing that's going to go away or if I'm going to have it in spurts every once in a while, but you can feel it coming on. You just feel kind of light. But I can tell you right now, distract yourself. School was the best thing for me. All I was worried about was projects, getting my assignments done, making sure things were turned in on time, finding out where I needed to go. My brain was so focused on everything else that I completely forgot about it. The only time I would remember is when I would come home, and then I would remember it, but I would ignore it. And when you start to have those thoughts where you're asking yourself, am I really thinking this? You have to tell yourself, this is not me. I am thinking these thoughts, and this is my brain doing this to myself. I had to tell myself in the car, this is not going to define me. I am stronger than this. I'm not going to let this take my life. And for people who haven't had this or suffered from this, it's a scary thing, especially hearing me talk about it. But it's like life isn't real. There's the derealization where everything looks weird. Kind of like if you smoke weed or drink alcohol and everything's kind of weird. Or super focused. Your eyes are super focused on everything. Then comes the depersonalization where you kind of disconnect from yourself and you're not yourself anymore. And then the dissociation where you can't, my memories, I couldn't remember things. They didn't feel like my memories. My emotions were all out of whack. I didn't feel happy. I didn't feel sad. I was just coasting through life. It really helped me and the other people to find out that there was other people suffering from this. And I will admit it wasn't easy, and it still isn't easy. I've had breakdowns. I've bawled. My parents were worried about me. I thought I was going to be in a mental asylum. But I do think that letting it out is good. You start to accept it and you're scared that you're not going to care anymore, but then one day you just break down and you just can't handle it. But it's a good thing to let your emotions out. One thing I had to stop myself from doing was every time I went out or went to someone's house or talked to someone, I had to inform them that I was derealized so they didn't think I was weird. It was the one thing I talked about, always on my mind, 24/7. The only thing I talked about to where it consumed me. So I've been doing this where I don't even talk about it. I don't discuss it. I just live my life. Things are getting so much better. I am feeling better. I am feeling like me as a person. I feel alive again, and it's a great feeling. You go into deep thoughts when this happens to you, and you start to question everything around you. Like, why is that this way? Why is this that way? And the only time that you feel safe is when you're asleep, if you can go to sleep. But I'm here to tell you it does get better. And after you watch this video, what I want you to do, and what I did, find an inspirational quote. Find a song that's going to help you get through this. I had a quote, I set it as my wallpaper. Anytime I was having a panic attack, I read that quote. I will breathe. I will not let this consume me. This is me. I'm not going to let this consume me. And I would tell myself that. Another thing I would do is don't talk about it anymore. Do not talk about it. Don't give it any attention. That's the only way you can get out of it. Don't feel like you need to discuss it all of the time. And when I would discuss it to people and they were worried, it would worry me more to where it was worse. So that's what I can say. It will get better. After you watch this video, I want you to promise yourself that you're not going to look into it anymore, because it becomes an obsession. And some people get trapped in that, and that's why they have it for 10 plus years, because their brain is a broken record. You start to feel better. Then you start to feel weird. Then you start to feel depressed. Then you feel like there's no hope. You read something, you feel better. Over and over, it's a broken record. You need to not look it up. You need to not give it any attention. Even if you feel weird, you just live your life, you distract yourself, and eventually it will go away. And one thing that really stuck with me was one of my friends said, yeah, I had that, but it didn't last long. I was babysitting and I started to feel light, like I was out of my body, but I forgot about it. And I thought, how can you forget about it? But then I forgot about it. And then I remembered what she said and I felt so much better. So I'm telling you all out there, it is terrifying. If you ever feel depressed or suicidal or anything like that, talk to somebody. Find me on social media. I will post the links below if this is something you suffer from. Talk to me and I will talk to you. I can help you. But if it gets to the point where you feel like you can't handle it anymore, it's time to talk to a doctor about something you may do, some prescription, because it can't be fixed, but it can be helped. The only way it can be fixed is if you can fix it, if you can be yourself. It's part of you. You are a unique person. You suffer from things. Everyone has something they go through. The hard thing with doctors and with other people to understand is it's not something you can explain. You can't explain it to people. Everyone is different, but you have these thoughts and you just can't explain it because it's your own mind. The thing with doctors as well is, what I have read is this only affects 2% of the population. Now, I would look into it so much that I would terrify myself. Is this schizophrenia? I'm 19. 19 is usually the age where schizophrenia begins. Am I schizophrenic? Do I want to be alive anymore? Do I need to go to a hospital? Do I need to check in? I need to tell everyone what I'm going through. People need to feel sorry for me. And that's not the case. Distract yourself. Don't look it up anymore. If you need to talk about it, comment below. Find someone in the comments who's suffering with what you are suffering. Help each other. Get through it. I had one person that I talked to daily, and we didn't know each other. We weren't friends. We rode the same bus together in junior high, and that was it. And then down the line, 6 years later, he comments, I've been suffering from this. Like that, we had each other's back. We didn't know each other, but we knew each other because we knew what we were going through. We had each other's back. We were there for each other. If we had a bad day, we would talk about it and say, it's going to get better. We're going to be okay. And that helped me so much. And I built friendships. I got to see other people's opinions on it. I got to help people. People got to help me. This is something that needs to be talked about more. It's something that happens to a lot of people, but they don't know what it is because it only lasts a few seconds. Let's say you're super stressed out and you're like overwhelmed and you feel weird and then it goes away like that. That's just something we all suffer from, but we don't even realize it. But then when it's lasting long periods of time, you do. It's like when you wake up in the morning and you're really groggy and you're just kind of all over the place until you wake up fully and it goes away. But for some of us, it lasts because our mind doesn't shut off. This happens to thinkers. We think about everything. We question every thought. We question everything we do. We wonder if we're good enough. We're deep thinkers. We're creative people. We're talkative, outgoing people, sometimes shy, but we are creative people. We think deep about things. And that's one thing. People may think you're weird because of that, or you think you're weird, so you think people are thinking you're weird. You guys are going to get better. I know I keep saying that. I'm going to end this video, but I hope this helped some of you. I know all of you are looking for the answer like I did that's going to cure you right away. There has to be an answer. I can take a med and it'll get me better. Now, as far as me taking meds, I've been taking them every day, and eventually I'm getting used to it. But I just want to let you guys know there's hope. If you like this video, comment below. Find someone who's going through it. Help each other out. Become a family. And you'll have a friend for the rest of your life, whether you know them or not, because they are there for you. At the end of the day, we are all just people. I will see you guys later. I hope that this helped you. Like I said, I posted this to help people because I needed the help. I will see you guys later, and till next time, you guys have a great one.